This NLCS will end tonight while the Braves hope to get this series back to Georgia. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, along with my partners, Tim McCarver and Bob Brenly. And Tim McCarver, the Atlanta Braves find themselves down 3-1. But if ever there was a team that could at least feel not helpless in this situation because of the pitching, it would be this Atlanta team.
Well, as the great UCLA coach John Wooden once said, any team can win one in a row, and the Atlanta Braves did last night. But they can win 3 in a row also, as they did back in the 1996 League Championship Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Compare the first 4 games offense with the last 3 games. But the big point in that series, Fred McGriff, the cleanup hitter, 1 for 13 in the first 4 games and 7 RBIs in the last 3 games. And remember, Andres Galarraga with a big grand slam in yesterday's game. And the Braves with their top 3 ready to go if it goes to 7 games. And the difference this year, of course, is that the San Diego Padres can match them pitch for pitch.
Yeah, they really have in this series and throughout the postseason, whoever they have been matched up against. The critics again are calling for Kevin Brown to step up and make the start. Bruce Bochy sticking with Andy Ashby.
Yeah, he's electing to stay with his postseason rotation, keep the guys on their regular rest, and why not? Look what Andy Ashby did in Game 1 against John Smoltz, matched him pitch for pitch. The thing is, the Astros, or rather the Braves know and the Padres know that that man is lurking. Kevin Brown available to pitch Game 6 if necessary should the Padres stumble tonight. Andy Ashby at home this year, 10-4 here at Qualcomm. Kevin Brown on the road, 10-2. Another one of those moves that appears to favor Bruce Bochy and the Padres.
Well, folks, it is a less than capacity crowd here tonight, but you'd never know it. I haven't heard anything these two have said since we've come on camera. We get ready for game number 5. It comes up after this. This is your home for the World Series, Fox. They lead it off with Ozzie Guillen again at short. Keith Lockhart bats second. At second, Chipper Jones is hitting in the number 3 spot. Andres Galarraga cleaning up. Those two combined to help get it done last night for Atlanta. Ryan Klesko in left field. Javi Lopez catching. Andrew Jones in center. Michael Tucker in right. John Smoltz pitching and batting ninth. How about the defense for the San Diego Padres? They have yet to commit an error in this NLCS. Andy Ashby worked those infielders over, and the infielders backed him up very well in Game 1 of this NLCS. And here's a look at the right-hander Andy Ashby, who makes his second start of this NLCS.
You're right, Joe. The only run scored against Andy, a home run by Andrew Jones on a backup slider. The scouting report for Andy Ashby: both the sinker and the riding fastball. That's the cutter. He's also added that slider to control the outside part of the plate to right-handed batters, and also a splitter. He throws very hard with great extension.
Not only did his infielders play well behind him, he played well himself. Had 4 assists in Game 1, which tied an NLCS record held by Greg Maddux and Juan Marichal. So he was a busy man defensively himself.
Ozzie Guillen has finished destroying the batter's box on the left side. The right side, as we look down at it, he comes out there to lead it off, and he takes his spikes and just digs at those lines. The front and the back are a shadow of their former selves.
Looks like a diminutive Milky Way.
There's Ozzie Guillen leading it off with Lockhart and Jones to follow, in a strike over the outside corner. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Glad you're with us. Game 5 of the 1998 NLCS. Padres up 3-1. Guillen with a ground ball base hit through the right side. Bobby Cox, a surprise start for Guillen last night. He sticks with him, and he is on base to start the night for the Braves.
Well, Bobby Cox likes what Ozzie Guillen brings to the ball club. He filled in for Walt Weiss in the second half of the season when Weiss was hampered with injuries. Guillen fooled a little bit out in front, but manages to find that hole on the right side of the field. A little more animated than Walter Weiss is Ozzie Guillen.
More animated than anybody.
A leadoff base hit, and here's Lockhart. And that's a shot down the right field line, hooking foul into the Atlanta bullpen. Who's the home plate umpire, you ask? The answer, Jerry Davis, with Steve Ripley at first, Terry Tate at second, Larry Poncino at third. Down the lines, Tom Hallion in left, Greg Bonet in right. Lockhart last night had a leadoff triple in the 4th inning after his Atlanta Braves had fallen behind. Scored the first run of the night for Atlanta in that 8-3 victory. Over but just low. 1 ball 1 strike.
You could see Carlos Hernandez sitting outside. Left-handed batters are more apt to get that sinking fastball from a guy like Ashby with a man on first, because instead of pulling the ball through the hole, a left-handed hitter by design would pull it to the second baseman.
Check on Guillen, who stole only 1 base in 5 attempts during the regular season.
And Lockhart is likely to hit the ball to the right side of the infield. A dead pull hitter. He grudgingly hits the ball the opposite way with 2 strikes, but he wants to pull the ball when at all possible.
We just had that throw over to first. This series really hasn't featured much running at all. The Atlanta Braves as a team stolen a total of 1 base in this NLCS. San Diego 2 in the entire postseason. Guillen at first with nobody out. The 1-1 to Lockhart is ball 2. Keith Lockhart, another study in perseverance in the game of baseball. He bounced around in the minor league system for the Reds for years. Got a breakthrough with the Kansas City Royals, ends up with the Atlanta Braves, and he is their #1 second baseman. Guillen is running, hit and run is on, and Lockhart flies to left. Vanderwall puts it away, 1 out, and back to first is Guillen. That'll bring in Chipper Jones with 1 on, 1 out.
You see the hot zone on Chipper Jones. The red areas are where he handles the ball better than the blue areas. The book on him is to jam him up and in above the belt with fastballs. Off-speed pitches down low and away.
A switch hitter. This is his more powerful side. Hit 34 home runs during the regular season, 32 of them while batting left-handed. That pitch barely missed, the first one from Ashby. So Jones up on the count, 1 ball, no strikes. That caught the inside corner, 1-1.
It's hard to jam a left-handed batter with a runner on first, particularly with a guy like Jones. You have to pitch him in there, but because there is a runner on at first base, again, that hole wide open on the right side. Pitch inside is much easier to find the hole with.
1 on, 1 out. Jones takes it up and away, 2-1.
And to try to defend against that hole on the right side, Veras is playing a few steps over toward the hole, try to take away some of that, and playing at double play depth with the runner at first and 1 out in the inning.
Andy Ashby so good in game 1. Trying to back that up with a strong effort here in game 5. Getting into trouble now as he falls behind Chipper Jones, 3-1. Galarraga, who broke free last night with a 7th inning grand slam for his first RBIs of the postseason, waits on deck. Dave Stewart, the pitching coach, on your right, watching as Ashby brings it to Jones on 3-1. Guillen running. Jones ground ball to short. Great pickup by Gomez. Out at first, 2 gone.
That was a terrific play by Chris Gomez, because he was breaking to cover and then had to stop and reverse on the in-between hop. Fine play by Chris Gomez. He gets 1 out, and that's all you can expect with Guillen running.
So Jones the 2nd out of the inning, and now with Guillen at second, 2 down, the batter Galarraga. I'm sure elated to have that pressure off. At least he has a crooked number in that RBI category. He has a straight number in the home run category. The grand slam last night in the 7th inning, still hitting just 200 in this postseason. Runner at second, 2 out. Galarraga jammed, 1 ball, 1 strike. He was anything but jammed here last night in the 7th inning. This is crushed. He hit that off the right-hander Maselli, and that grand slam capped a big 6-run 7th inning as the Braves went on to an 8-3 victory in Game 4.
That was an inside fastball, and Ashby's come back with 2 inside fastballs in this at bat.
And now the 1-1. Galarraga takes high.
Galarraga has really had very few pitches to get the head of the bat on. The Padres are either going inside off of the plate or getting called strikes on the outside corner. Really have done a nice job of avoiding Andres Galarraga's happy zone until that pitch last night.
Braves trying to get a first inning lead. Runner at second, 2 out. And a squirter. That's a fair ball. Hernandez, the play of the inning is over. Score at 2-3. So Galarraga hits the grand field. Carlos Hernandez catching. Chris Gomez hitting 8th, and Andy Ashby pitching and batting 9th. The defense for the Atlanta Braves. They have committed 6 errors in this NLCS. 5 double plays turned in this series, however, which is a bit surprising because typically you don't get enough base runners on to turn 5 double plays, but that hasn't been the case. And back for his second start of this LCS, John Smoltz.
Smoltz uncharacteristically wild in Game 1, walked 5 batters, including the leadoff hitter in both the first and second innings of that ball game.
Gilvio Veras first up. 3 out of 15 in this series, facing Smoltz and slashing 1 foul. In that Game 1, Gilvio Veras led off with a walk, and the Padres threatened in the first inning, didn't score, eventually won the game 3-2 in 10 innings. Neither starter, Smoltz or Ashby, were involved in the decision. Little low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a good point, Joe, because there have been, you often hear about clutch hitting, but you rarely hear about clutch pitching, and there has been a lot of clutch pitching in this series.
That's out in front of the plate. Fair ball for Smoltz, or for Lopez, as he takes it instead of Smoltz, and Javi throws out Veras to put out 2-3. And the leadoff man is gone as we look at the Smoltz scouting report.
John Smoltz, widely recognized as having one of the best, hardest sliders in the game. Very aggressive with a high fastball, the 4-seamer up at the top of the zone. And he has gone away from the split-fingered fastball. In exchange, he's using a straight changeup, a circle change. He will break out the splitter from time to time, especially in double play situations, but uses a straight change more than a split finger as his off-speed pitch.
Leo Mazzoni just agreed with you.
He agrees with everything every time you get a shot of him. Finley takes a pitch up and away for ball 1. I bet if we get a shot of Leo Mazzoni in the dugout right now, he's rocking.
It's hard not to rock at this ballpark.
1 out, nobody on, 1 ball, no strikes, and Finley took it for ball 2. Outfield playing Finley to go the other way, which he has a couple of different times in this series and in this ballpark against Atlanta pitching. Staying away, staying out of the strike zone. It's 3-0.
Smoltz wanted that, and I don't blame him. When pitchers are behind hitters, more often than not, they stay away from batters to keep them from pulling the ball. Even 3-0.
That makes it ball 4 and a 1-out walk to Steve Finley. That'll bring in Tony Gwynn. Lifetime over .450 in his career against John Smoltz. And he bats with 1 on, 1 out, no score in the bottom of the first. Gwynn the opposite way down the line. Klesko in the bullpen to get it, 2 out. So Gwynn retired. Back to first is Finley, and he will be there for Caminiti.
See Ryan Klesko crossing the foul line, going over into the Padres bullpen. Not so far that it interfered with his throw back to the infield, but that can happen on fly balls that lead the right or left fielder into those bullpens.
There's Caminetti with a runner at first, Finley, and 2 out. For all of the success that Gwynn has had against Smoltz in his career, Caminetti has had virtually none as he pops it down the left field line. Trouble in the corner. It is gone for a 2-run home run, and Caminetti breaks through against John Smoltz. 2-0 San Diego.
Fastball low and away, but not for long. Just a matter of whether it's fair or foul, and it was fair by 5 feet.
I said he breaks free against John Smoltz. He breaks through with his first home run against Smoltz in what was his 73rd career at bat against the right-hander, including postseason.
And most at bats against any pitcher in his career without hitting a home run.
Joyner up the middle for a base hit. And the Padres look ready for Game 5.
That was such a nasty pitch that Caminetti hit out. A tailing fastball right above the knees, right there on the outside corner. Actually off the corner. He had to go up there and say, I'm going to get an outside fastball and try to drive it, and that's what he did.
Vanderwall with a comebacker to the pitcher Smoltz. The out at first. The inning is over. Major damage done by the Padres to John Smoltz and the Braves. Up 3-1. Game 5 up 2-0. Inning for San Diego and for Atlanta. John Smoltz on the mound and Caminetti in the batter's box with a bat in his hand. The result, a 2-run home run and a 2-0 San Diego lead after 1. Ryan Klesko, strike 1, facing Andy Ashby. There's a beach ball loose out in right field, so Tony Gwynn goes to get rid of it.
That's about how big that ball looked to Caminetti. The fastball actually off the plate away in good location.
That's what Caminetti did with it. Got it just over the wall.
Right.
Ryan Klesko with a 1-ball 1-strike count. Lopez and Andrew Jones will follow. Ashby got around a leadoff hit in the first inning, and he misses up 2 balls and a strike on Klesko. To the right side, 2-hopper for Veras. Leadoff man for Atlanta gone in the second.
There's that 4-seam fastball on the outside corner, moving away from Caminetti. He goes with it. We mentioned last night the Padres hitters seem to be making better adjustments on the fly than the Braves hitters have. Steve Finley's hitting the ball the opposite way. Caminetti goes the opposite way. Jim Leyritz last night, 2 hits, including a home run to the opposite field.
And now Lopez comes up empty with strike 1.
The reason that that is so important and that hitting instructors continually try to get hitters to do that is when you go the other way or up the middle, your shoulder is always, your front shoulder is always in position to make those adjustments. If you pull out of there, then you're in no position. The only pitch really you can hit is the ball down and in.
One ball, 1 strike on Javi Lopez. And that's fouling out of play for strike 2.
You saw that 0-1 pitch to Javi Lopez. That's what pitchers try to get hitters to do. They pitch them inside to try to get them to pull out. They try to get them to do something wrong as a hitter. That's why you see after an inside pitch, they often go away with the slider breaking ball.
On 1 and 2, Lopez stays alive. You know, while all the focus here in San Diego was on Kevin Brown, and it has been in this postseason, Andy Ashby had a career year with 17 victories. Was the Major League's first 16-game winner on August 12th. The bad news for Ashby and the Padres, he won only once after August 12th. Lopez strikes out for the second out here in the second.
Ashby pitched him inside, inside, inside until what happens at front side. See you later. And Ashby gets Lopez.
Ashby talks about throwing that slider. He'd had problems with it, gripping it too hard, throwing it too hard. He's let up a little bit. And with that break and the swing, Lopez missed that by a mile. And now Andrew Jones takes one down and away for ball 1.
A lot of pitchers get caught up in that trap. They throw one good slider, and now they want to throw one that's even better than the one before. They're getting a lot of bad habits.
2 balls, no strikes in game 1 against Andy Ashby. Bottom of the 3rd inning, this shot on a pitch down and in to Andrew Jones, the first run of this NLCS. The Atlanta Braves, of course, would later lose game 1, 3-2 in 10 innings. Lose game 2, 3-zip. Game 3, 4-1. All that before winning here last night, 8-3. Andrew Jones wailing away on a 2-0 pitch. It's 2-1.
That looked like a splitter, either a splitter or a sinking fastball to Jones.
Three and 1.
That looked like Ashby was trying to throw that perfect slider right there, the one nobody in the world can hit, when in reality a decent slider to Andrew Jones would get him to swing or perhaps check swing.
3 balls, 2 strikes. A 2-out walk puts Andrew Jones at first, with the number 8 hitter Michael Tucker coming up. Tucker in this NLCS 2 out of 7 in this postseason, hitting .267 with 1 home run, which came in the first game of the division series against the Cubs. Jones starts and stops, and Tucker comes up empty, strike 1.
Joe, you mentioned it earlier that neither team has run very much in this series, but this figures to be an opportunity for the Braves. Going to get a look at the false start by Andrew Jones over there. Jones, the best base stealer on the Braves roster, and with the number 8 hitter at the plate and 2 outs, if he happens to get thrown out attempting to steal, it's not a bad situation leading off the next inning with your number 8 hitter and the pitcher on deck.
The last time that we saw that fake break by Jones was yesterday afternoon. Bruce Bochy, general manager Kevin Towers both said before the game to us that that was the biggest play in yesterday's game. The wild pitch. Carlos Hernandez coming up on the ball.
Tucker takes a strike, and he's in the hole 0-2. Kevin Towers, a general manager with these Padres. San Diego leading 2-0 in the second. Ball and 2 strikes.
Now's a good time to run, because more than any other count, a 1-ball 2-strike count is the lethal count for a pitcher. He thinks that that's the count more than any other count to get the hitter out on. Consequently, no chance for a pitch out here.
Jones doesn't run. Tucker grounds to Joyner. A little option play to Andy Ashby going to the bag to put out 3-1. Second and swings through it for strike one. Hernandez, Gomez, and Ashby, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters against John Smoltz. A 1-out walk given up by Smoltz in the first. A 2-out, 2-run homer to Caminiti given up by Smoltz in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike here to Hernandez.
Early in his career, Carlos Hernandez was thought of as a wild free swinger up there at the plate, and at times he will still get a little erratic, but as you can see, he's taking absolutely no stride with that front foot, just trying to make contact, hit the ball hard somewhere.
Outside corner, strike 2. Talk about John Smoltz in postseason elimination games. He's made 5 starts in this situation. His record is 3-0. The Braves are 4-1 as a team in those games. The one loss coming against the Minnesota Twins in the '91 series in Game 7. Hernandez strikes out, and that's the first strikeout for Smoltz. Here are his thoughts on his team, which at one point was down 3-0.
I like to think that of all the teams in history that have been in our position, I'd like our chances better than theirs with Glavine, Maddox, and myself. So, having said that, realize that it's it's a tremendous mountain to climb. But there's no quit in the Atlanta Braves clubhouse. There's no quit in the pitching staff, and certainly our manager is not quit. So, as long as we have that formula, we have a chance.
Gomez takes a ball low and away.
That manager is not quitting. Bobby Cox telling us before the game that yes, Greg Maddux can pitch an inning tonight, and yes, Tommy Glavine can work a hitter or two. So everybody is available this evening for the Braves.
Had a manager in the minor league that called these situations when he asked who's going to start the game or who's going to pitch in the game. He said everybody. Dick Holstaff. Use everybody you have to.
Ground ball to the right side off the bat of Gomez, picked up by Lockhart, 2 out.
There's no reason to save anybody. If you can't win tonight, you don't need them tomorrow.
John Smoltz in his 11th season, 11-3, which is a record for wins in a postseason. Of course, many more chances than, let's say, Whitey Ford. Whitey won 10 in the postseason in his career. 1996 was the National League Cy Young Award winner. It's an ERA of 2 1/4 in World Series play. Ashby takes a ball up and away. We mentioned it at the time when the Atlanta Braves were down 3-0. No team in Major League Baseball playoff history in that situation had ever come back to win a postseason series. No team in that situation down 3-0 had ever even forced a Game 6, which is what the Atlanta Braves try to do here tonight with a win to get this series back to Atlanta. A ball and 2 strikes on Ashby. The inning is over. Padres go to the top of the 3rd inning. It'll be Smoltz the pitcher, then Guillen and Lockhart. Anybody gets on, Chipper Jones for Atlanta. And again, the situation, the Braves down 3-1. San Diego trying to win this here tonight and one more game in this series and get to the World Series for the first time since 1984. Smoltz is gone. A quick out. And we'll talk about the rest of the postseason, the rest of the league championship series. Next games, ALCS Game 6. Indians at the Yankees tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Bob Costas and Joe Morgan will have that. The Yankees lead that series 3-2. And then if necessary, and it would only be necessary if Atlanta wins here tonight, Game 6 Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox, 1 Pacific. Padres right now leading this series 3-1, and all of that leads to the World Series, which you will find here on Fox. The obvious advantage if this game doesn't go to a Game 6 is the Padres would have a rested Kevin Brown ready for Game 1 of the World Series, which begins on Saturday night. 1 ball, 1 strike on Guillen. 1.
David Wells, the winner for the Yankees last night, to give the Yankees the 3-2 edge in that series. And David Wells even has George Steinbrenner liking facial hair. Traditionally, the Yankees have not allowed their players wear a mustache or beard or goatee. And George last night even liking that metal band Metallic. And David Wells walking behind him said, "George, Metallica."
Caminiti is of that mold. Ashby with a count of 2-2. Guillen with another base hit. He's 2 for 2. Ozzie a base hit to start the first inning. He has one here in the third with 1 out, with Lockhart walking in.
Ozzie Guillen will take some funny swings from time to time. He looks off balance occasionally, but gets ahead of the bat on a ball, fires the bat away, and chugs on down to first base.
That's why we were talking about how animated Guillen is. Roy Campanella said you got to have a lot of little boy in you to enjoy the game of baseball. Well, Guillen still does.
Ground ball to the right side is foul off the bat of Lockhart for strike 1. I'll believe that about George Steinbrenner when I see him in the front row at a Marilyn Manson concert.
Well, I'll tell you may see it if the Yankees win tomorrow night or Wednesday and the Padres win it coming out here to San Diego. This place, the way this place rocks.
1 on 1 out for Lockhart. 0-1 the count. A strike and a throw down. Guillen back in time.
You know, one thing I feel we should touch on before the game progresses any further, one of the home field advantages you have at your home ballpark is the grounds crew. And very early this afternoon, as we get a look at that pickoff attempt from Carlos Hernandez down to Wally Joyner, very early this afternoon, the Padres ground crew was out here digging up the dirt in front of home plate, wetting it down, softening that area in front of home plate. Andy Ashby, very much a sinker ball pitcher, gets a lot of ground balls. We mentioned 13 of the 21 outs in game 1 were on ground balls. Smoltz, more of a strikeout fly ball pitcher. Take advantage. Some of the grounds crew here at Qualcomm Stadium.
0-2 on Lockhart. And that foul will get out of play to keep it 0-2.
And already in this ball game, we've seen a couple of choppers right out in front of home plate. Andres Galarraga grounded out to the catcher. As you said, Joe, hit the ball about 1.5 feet. Comebacker to the mound off the bat of John Vanderwall. And you soften up that area in front of home plate. Those ground balls don't get out there as quickly as they would on a harder packed surface.
That's foul.
Oh, I so had that.
Lockhart at the plate trying to set something up for Chipper Jones and Andres Galarraga. And already 4 of the 5 outs recorded outside of the strikeout have been on groundouts.
John Smoltz, on the other hand, a fly ball pitcher. A lot of outs of John's recorded in the air.
One was in the air off the bat of Caminiti, and it didn't come down until it got over the wall about 330 feet down the left field line. It's 2-0 San Diego. Lockhart with a battle here against Ashby. Keeps it 0-2. Poor Andy Ashby. In the first 5 or 6 years of his career, everybody called him Allen. You know, I still have to fight myself and not call him Allen. A longtime catcher with Houston who retired 1989, but you can forget that for now as Andy Ashby. This is with ball 1. The kind of year he had during the regular season, 17 wins, the effort in game 1, and now pitching in game 5. He can put those ghosts of Alan Ashby well behind him.
Now they're calling Allen Andy.
That's right. A ball and 2 strikes on Lockhart. Two. Andy Ashby ineffective at the start of his career. Bounced from Philadelphia to Colorado as an expansion pick. Traded here to San Diego. The 2-2 to Lockhart has popped up. Left field for Vanderwall. 2 out. And Lockhart's 0 for 2. Runner at first, Guillen, and 2 out. Line drive is over the head of Gomez. Guillen will take the turn, head to third. Vanderwall's throwing to second. And it's first and third, 2 out for Galarraga.
Even with 2 outs, Guillen going to third base. With 1 out, it's a good play, and it's a good play right here for this reason. That clears second base for a good base stealer like Chipper Jones. Fine base running by Guillen, knowing he's got speed behind him. With the Braves trailing by 2, he takes a moderate chance and a poor slide into third. That was a belly flop right there. Looked like a wounded plane on a carrier.
Now Galarraga, runners at the corners, 2 out. Andres 0 for 1. Takes a ball. The numbers in the postseason aren't good for Andres. We've already talked at length about the grand slam last night. That is history. Now with first and third, 2 out. It's 2-0 on Galarraga here in the third.
Now the big cat, one of the best mistake hitters in the league. He proved that last night. Got that mistake fastball. He likes to extend his arms out over the plate. Most pitchers try to jam him in on the hands, and he usually knows how to work the count in his favor and take advantage of those mistake pitches.
It's in his favor here, but Ashby gives him something other than the fastball. And the count 2-1.
Looks like a slider or perhaps a curveball. Sometimes that slider reacts like a curveball when a pitcher gets on top of it more.
The 2-1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bobby Dews wearing a microphone, third base coach, talking to Ozzie Guillen.
Watch the ball. Watch the ball. Fastball. He's starting him off with a lot of breaking stuff. Here, look.
Be alive for the ball in the dirt.
The 2-2 into left field, ripped. Vanderwall back to get it to end the inning. We talked about all the moves Bruce Bochy has made. Vanderwall, typically a pinch hitter, another good defensive play for San Diego. Consent. Here's Veras. Bounced out his first time up. Takes a strike. Quickly 0-2 from Smoltz. John Vanderwall made that catch on that drive by Galarraga to end the top of this third inning. It was hit hard. Veras strikes out to start the bottom of the third.
And we try to give you these scouting reports to just give you a general idea about hitters. Of course, nothing is in print, but this is. Look, check that first point. One of the best mistake hitters in the league, and watch where this slider is to Galarraga. Right down the pipe. And does he ever drill it? Fortunately for the Padres, Vanderwall was there.
Now Vanderwall has staggered a couple times on fly balls to left field, but he manages to make the play. A guy that gets very few starts in the outfield, but has really done a fine job for Bruce Bochy so far in this LCS.
Game 3 threw a runner. Walt Weiss out at the plate. Could have been a 2-run inning, and heck, who knows how many more for Atlanta. The throw by Vanderwall kept it to a 1-run game. And the Padres went on to a 4-1 victory. That was it for Atlanta in that game. Finley on 3 pitches is gone. Back-to-back strikeouts and 4 in the game for Smoltz. Tomorrow, was Bobby adopted? Truth comes out on an all-new King of the Hill. Then Sue's playing doctor on an all-new Costello, followed by the 300-pound
Oh, I can't even say
Tumor on Guinness. It all starts tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Tony Gwynn, 2 out, nobody on, and strike 1.
John Smoltz going to a lot of off-speed pitches this inning. Change-ups to Veras after a leadoff fastball. Same thing to Finley, off-speed pitches. Now gets ahead of Tony Gwynn with an off-speed pitch.
Just missing the inside corner. Gwynn struck out twice here last night. And it was the first time that he had done it in this postseason, only the 3rd time in the entire calendar year of 1998. He had struck out twice in 1 game.
He's only done it 11 times in the 90s. 33 times over his career. And only once has he struck out 3 times in a game against Bob Welch back in 1986. Unbelievable.
2-1 on Gwynn. 3-1 from Smoltz.
Well, as you would expect with a great hitter like Tony Gwynn, he spreads the wealth around. He will pull balls into right field, but we talked about that 5.5 hole on the left side of the infield between the third baseman and the shortstop. Back up the middle with pitches, and he will pull pitches if you try to jam him.
This crowd wants to see Tony pop one here. 3 balls and a strike, and he grounds to second. Lockhart picks it, throws it, and the Padres go in order for the 2nd time in a row. We let him see as Ryan Klesko leads it off and grounds to first. That's a foul ball. As Joyner knocked it down, strike 1. Klesko, Lopez, and Andrew Jones for Atlanta here in the 4th.
That was a very close play. Ball almost hit the line. Remember, it's not where it hits the line, it's where it crosses the bag, or whether it crosses the bag or not.
And the way Wally Joyner fielded that ball, it looked like it kicked back toward him. He had to bring his glove back close to his body as he went out there to backhand it, hit off the heel of the glove.
Looked like Steve Ripley got it right. Strike 1. Klesko pops it up. Left side, it's trying to get out of play. Caminiti watches it go 2 rows in for strike 2.
I think Kenny would have needed a ticket to get this ball.
Actually, these are extra seats that they've added down on the field, quote unquote VIP seats. Bring your mouth guard seats. Without those, that would have been out number 1 as Klesko's driven off the plate by Ashby.
Good purpose pitch here by Andy Ashby just to get Ryan Klesko to be a little less anxious to reach out there for that outside corner.
The 1-2 pitch from Andy Ashby. Klesko pops it into right center. Gwynn to his right. Klesko's 0 for 2. And the first out here in the 4th inning. Lopez struck out his first time. And Hobby takes a ball. Okay.
Well, I don't want to give the answer. I mean, there may be some wagering going on around the country right now.
Friendly wager.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-0 on Javi Lopez.
After you give the answer, I'll let you know if I was right or not.
Okay. That's you.
Honor system.
That's you. Lopez popped a home run here last night after San Diego had taken a 3-2 lead and a home run by Leyritz. Lopez tied it to start that 6-run 7th inning. It was basically capped on the grand slam by Galarraga. The 2-1. Hard hit and through the left side of the infield for Atlanta's 3rd hit of the night. Lopez has it with 1 out here in the 4th inning.
While Bob ponders that and withholds the answer, I am going to guess Oral Hershiser as you see Javi Lopez hammering one in the hole. Talk about a lot of big hits in postseason play. There are a few guys that get as many big hits as Javi Lopez.
Well, Tim, you get the trophy.
I do?
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
That's correct.
It is?
I'm pretty sure.
Andrew Jones now takes a pitch low.
Well, Joe, is that the answer?
Am I allowed to say?
Well, ask John Filippelli.
I think you're very close. I think you're right there.
Really?
You're right. To end all suspense. 1 ball, no strikes.
It was a gift.
Andrew Jones takes the ball, and it gets more and more interesting for Atlanta here in the 4th inning, despite the banter here in the booth.
That unbelievable postseason that Oral Hershiser had in 1988. MVP in the NLCS, and then MVP in the World Series against Oakland.
1 on, 1 out, 2 balls, no strikes, and Jones lines one into left center field. Javi Lopez will take the turn but hold. Finley got to it in a hurry, made a good play, back-to-back singles here in the 4th inning.
Bob, you said something in game 1, and you were exactly right, partner. If an outfielder gets to the ball quickly and throws the ball, it doesn't matter how good the throw is, but the throw and getting to the ball, not the throw, but getting to the ball stops the runner, and that's what happens here.
As that runner rounds the bag, momentarily he's got to take a peek to make sure he hits the bag. When he looks up and sees the ball in the air, he has no option but to freeze. You can't attempt to advance if you see that ball in the air. Lopez does not possess with great speed, but hits the brakes rounding second base, and Finley with a good, strong, accurate throw to third base held him there.
A big play with 1 out, and the bottom of the order coming up. San Diego leading 2-0 here in the 4th inning, and it's 2 on with 1 out for Michael Tucker. Strike 1.
Good sinking fastball from Andy Ashby. Takes a little bit off his regular fastball, gets a little more movement, a little more tail.
And now the 0-1 to Tucker. Ball and a strike to Michael, who has yet to drive in a run in this NLCS. The important at bat here for Michael Tucker with 2 on, 1 out, and the pitcher Smoltz on deck. Strike 2. Not as economical with his pitches here tonight compared to game 1. To the right side through, base hit. They will bring Lopez to the plate. Wynn will hold and throw to second. It's a 2-1 game. With a count of 1-2, Michael Tucker delivers, knocks in his first of this series, and cuts the Padre lead in half.
Michael Tucker hit a very difficult pitch. Watch him reach one-handed, but enough on it to get it by the diving Veras. I don't know whether that was a sinker or a splitter, but it was a nasty pitch by Ashby. And Tucker not only scores Lopez, but he gets Andrew Jones to third with 1 out.
Pitch down and away from him. Could have been a hard sinker, could have been the split, something that was moving down and away from the left-handed hitting Tucker.
Now first and third, 1 out for Smoltz. And Ashby does the look over. Smoltz waving the bat around at the plate. It looked like he started to square around.
It did. I think a straight sacrifice bunt with 1 out here is a bad play. John Smoltz is too good a hitter to give himself up here.
Swinging away, and strike 1. Andrew Jones at third, the tying run, the go-ahead run. Michael Tucker at first. There's already action for the Padres out in their bullpen.
I'll tell you what's in the Yankee arsenal, a safety squeeze in a situation like this. Push the ball toward first, and the runner at third run after he sees whether the first baseman can field it or not.
Squeeze play coming, and the Padres pitch out. The Padres guessing right. Now in the rundown, Andrew Jones is tagged out for the second out of the inning.
That's why the suicide squeeze is riskier. The pitch out by Hernandez, Jones running, and the throw to Caminetti. And now back to Ashby covering. And it looked like Jones ran into his left hand. But if you have the safety squeeze, you don't have to send Jones. He doesn't run until he decides whether it's safe to come home or not. The Yankees use that, but obviously the Braves don't.
Dangerous play at the finish there. You never want to run the runner toward home plate. But that's what happened for the Padres. Caminetti running Jones toward the pitcher. Ashby covering home plate. Ashby was able to hang on as Jones crashed into him.
Now the count 1-1 on Smoltz. You can score it. Caught stealing 2-5-1. Bruce Bochy called for the pitch out and guessed right. Now the 1-1 to Smoltz is low. Bobby Dew's wearing a microphone. Here's what he said to Andrew Jones before the play.
He's just sacrificing you over to going on the it squeezes on.
There is a word sign with the runner at third.
Smoltz a slow roller like a bunt. Ashby will let it roll. And it will roll and stay fair. Got to the chalk and then stopped, and it's first and third, 2 out on a hit by Smoltz.
In game 3, which was the first game here, runners on at first and second. You remember a play by Ken Caminetti on a bunt play, and Bob, you brought it up that Caminetti knows this field very well, and he realized that if he didn't charge and make the play, the ball was not going to roll foul, and it doesn't here either.
The mere height of the chalk down the third baseline keeps this ball fair. Starts to make a movement toward foul territory, hits the raised chalk area and comes back into fair territory.
John Smoltz with a mean game of bocce ball right there. The other kind of bocce ball.
Now first and third, 2 out, and Ozzie Guillen already 2 for 2 at the plate. Shows bunt, takes a strike. 2 out in the inning. 2-1 San Diego here in the fourth. Braves losing Andrew Jones between third and home. The 0-1 to Guillen. Into right center field, well hit. Back is Finley on the run to end the inning. Guillen gave it a ride, but Finley there to grab it. Andy Ashby gives up 1, and the Braves lose 1 on the bases.
The sounds of the game, I guess you have to ask yourself, was it a sacrifice, was it a safety squeeze, or was it a straight squeeze? Bobby said to Andrew Jones, sacrifice, and then he said squeeze. I wonder if that's to be construed as a safety squeeze. I don't know.
Caminetti leads off. He's provided the offense for San Diego tonight with a 2-out 2-run homer in the first. He takes a ball inside. 2-0. Caminetti, Joyner, and Vanderwall for San Diego. Up 3-1 and up 2-1 here in the fourth. Caminetti went 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. Smoltz has retired 7 straight. To the right side, Galarraga. A race to the bag with Smoltz and Caminetti, and Smoltz won. One away.
Well, we talked a lot about this Atlanta Braves pitching staff, the little things they do well to help themselves win ball games, and playing defense is a major part of their game. John Smoltz able to just barely beat Ken Caminetti to the bag here. Tough toss almost back over his shoulder from Andres Galarraga, but led Smoltz perfectly right to the bag.
That's why those pitchers get down to spring training in the middle of February. Well, they spend about a week on that. Joyner takes a ball low and away.
Well, as a catcher, all you do during that drill is yell, "Get over there, get over there," about 300 times a day. Get over there, get over there.
Yeah, you work on your get over there.
1 ball, 1 strike on Joyner. Wally singled up the middle his first time up after the Caminetti home run. 2 balls and a strike. Two and two.
Threw a 2-0 slider to Caminetti, and now a 2-1 slider to Joyner. Again, breaking balls in fastball situations, a good way to go to a big league hitter.
Like a bunt. Smoltz in to get it. Joyner is out. That's 9 in a row retired by John Smoltz. Well, the suspend.
The Bulldog strikes again. What a career he has had.
2 out, nobody on. Vanderwall up the middle. Lockhart to his right, had to double clutch, and safe is Vanderwall at first.
Baseball, a game of habit. Had John Vanderwall not busted it out of the box, he's out here. That's why you run hard all the time. There are some major league players who don't do that all the time. There is no excuse for not running 90 feet 4 times a game on a ground ball to the infield.
I agree with you 100%, partner.
1 on, 2 out, and Hernandez takes the ball up and away.
Get a look at Vanderwall. I mean, this doesn't even look like an infield hit, but going hard from the first step out of the box all the way through the bag. Able to reach with 2 outs.
Hernandez, strike 1. I've heard some people say if you're healthy in the game of baseball, that ought to be the easiest thing you do. Vanderwall hustling all the way, ends up with what is ruled an infield single, although you could tell Lockhart couldn't get a grip on it. And that cost the Braves the out. Strike 2 on Hernandez.
I heard our pal Jim Codd, who does the Yankee games, make a comment this summer saying that it takes no talent whatsoever to run hard. What does that sum it up?
A 2-out hit by Vanderwall, and Carlos Hernandez at the plate with a 1-2 count. As we watch John Smoltz on the mound, his thoughts, or at least part of his thoughts, focusing on San Diego, also with his mother Mary, who underwent surgery yesterday, resting, getting better, recuperating, and he passed on to us that he wanted to pass on get well wishes to his mother. That gets away from Lopez. Javi at least got enough of the glove on it to keep it close. And the strikeout is the 5th of the night for John Smoltz. Pitching well, gave up a first inning 2-run home run to Ken Caminetti, and after 4 it's still standing for a 1-run lead.